Good afternoon, and let me say straight away that the action in today's programme is first class. From the elite of the First Division, there's Sunderland versus Liverpool and Tottenham versus West Brom. And there's a brief glimpse too of the Second Division promotion game between Notts County and Chelsea, plus the Goal of the Month competition. So if you enjoy goals, you won't be disappointed.
Meanwhile, I'll be bringing you an update on a couple of transfers, plus the answer to the question everyone is asking, will Malcolm Allison return to Crystal Palace?
So let's see what effect yesterday's biting winter conditions had on the game, and particularly the one at Roker Park, where despite a temperature below freezing point, the Sunderland fans were happy once again to be able to give a warm welcome to Liverpool as visitors. Your commentator, Barry Davis.
Ray Kennedy back on the ground where he made his league debut as an Arsenal substitute in October 1969. Now the acting captain of a Liverpool side looking to make up for what he described as the disaster at Wolverhampton last Tuesday, when of course they lost by 4-1. And the side shows just one change from that occasion. Locally born Alan Kennedy, just 4 miles away from here he was born, back in the side for the injured Harvey Cohen. Colin Irwin continues his attempt to seize his chance, with Phil Thompson still recovering from a broken collarbone. Sunderland have found goals difficult to come by recently, just 5 in the last 7 matches. That's their side today, with Buckley and Dunn out, and in their places come Elliott, recovered from injury, and Alan Brown. And it's a side looking for their first league win against Liverpool since season 58-59. There's the third team on the park this afternoon, the referee Terry Morris of Leeds, and the 2 linesmen, Mr. Eland and Mr. Paler. It's a pretty raw afternoon, as you can see, a pitch that's going to vary quite a lot. Still quite a bit of snow on it. It's soft in some places and hard in others. It's Kenny Dalglish making his 201st appearance for Liverpool. I think the first time this season we're using an orange ball, which is, of course, is much easier to pick out in these conditions. And Clements, finding it, ran quite a long way to him. Kennedy. Forward to Dalglish, who got away. And it was well claimed by Turner, and Dalglish disappointed he didn't make more of that. Robson, Cummins, faced by 2, Neal and Lee. Bolton, 3 players in the area. Clearing header was from Irwin. Elliott's made the forward run, and so has Kevin Arnott. Extravagant dummy. Neal looks up looking for Ray Kennedy, and a good header by him. Johnson! Oh, what a good piece of play. Really good goal by Liverpool. And the typical move, starting from the right back position. Phil Neal, who hit the long one, and Ray Kennedy got his body in the right position for the nod back. And David Johnson struck the ball very sweetly indeed. So Liverpool, who from the start have shown a very positive approach, take the lead in the 13th minute. So I was wondering about their attitude to this game, because Bob Paisley said to me recently that the League Championship is a bit like a tug of war. There are sometimes when you have to take the strain and not keep pulling all the time, but they've certainly gone out looking for the 2 points right from the start here, after their disappointments at Wolverhampton. Just a bit too early was the move then by Dalglish. And the Roker warming the afternoon. Haven't had too much to cheer yet, the home crowd. Elliott's a bit tight. Bolton. It's another nothing ball. Comparisons between the passing quality of the two sides is somewhat odious for Sunderland. Now Bolton. And no flag. And a good claim by Ray Clements from Kevin Arnott. Snow then worked to his advantage as he came out to meet the player who got free. It was a good slide in, which left him pretty wet, but left him in possession of the ball. Whitworth. Good play by Johnson and by Ray Kennedy. McDermott's made the run forward of Dalglish. This is a lovely move, and it gets the proper finish from Terry McDermott. Really another fine move by Liverpool. McDermott, as is so often the case, must have run a good 35 or 40 yards. And it was all fed through properly with really good play by Kennedy and Johnson. The ball to Dalglish, the flick on to the running McDermott, and the ball tucked inside Chris Turner's right-hand post for a scoreline at the 35th minute of Sunderland 0, Liverpool 2. One has to say the champions are good value for the lead. Sunderland, in fact, have been beaten by Liverpool in their last 6 league and cup meetings. The last win over Liverpool was, in fact, in the FA Cup 20 seasons ago. And Bob Paisley, in a rather rusky-looking hat, must be enjoying his side's comeback after the disappointments of Wolverhampton. Dalglish taken by Alan Kennedy. Near post is Lee, far post is McDermott. In between is Bolton, and there's Lee, and there's McDermott, and there is Turner. But they were in trouble again, Sunderland, and McDermott was the one who couldn't get on the end at the finish. Another offside decision. Clements immediately looking to turn Liverpool onto the attack again. They won't have time to go too far on this occasion, but it's been a champion comeback by them in the first half. Fully justified in their 2-0 lead. The goal scorers Johnson in the 13th minute and McDermott in the 35th. And away we go on the second half, with Liverpool in the yellow strip now attacking the goal to our right. Maybe it was a little bit significant that the Sunderland flag then was wound all around the pole. Kenny Dalglish. Sunderland, after a bright start to the season, 17 points from 19 games, Cook. Timely foot by Hansen. Lee. McDermott. Straight to Pop Robson. Just a touch then from Clements was so important. And in fact saved the side after a really poor back pass by Terry McDermott. Obviously didn't see where Pop Robson was. Just a fingertip away by Clements, saved the situation. 10 minutes of the second half gone. And there's a certain feeling of impatience and exasperation. Things not going right for Sunderland. It's a summary of the problems they've had in scoring goals. And here is Alan Brown and the pace of the ball beating him. But John Hawley is still equal top scorer, and he hasn't played in the first team since September the 13th. He and Stone Cummins each have 5. Here's Cummins. 2 making the run. And he plays in Elliott. Clements to meet him, but that's a goal kick. A little unlucky, had to take it that side of the goalkeeper, and the ball running pretty swiftly after he'd struck it. He obviously struck it too hard, but in another area of the pitch it might have needed that amount of strike. Offside. Whitworth. McDermott, Lee out to the right, Douglas down the middle. Neil, as ever, joining the attack. Two-thirds of the game gone, 1/3 left. And Sunderland needing to find something that they haven't shown us so far. Just had a couple of sniffs in the second half. 2 quarter chances, I suppose. 1 to Robson, 1 to Elliott. Here's Douglas. Sunderland in danger of getting caught out as they pull players forward. And here's McDermott. The goalkeeper right on his 6-yard line. Just took the sting of it and turned it over. Corner is on the right. With a solitary figure on the near post. Everybody else is fairly well out. Now Johnson has come across. And another corner. Allardyce with Colin Irwin coming behind him. Ray Kennedy this time has gone on the near post. Bob Robson in the right back position. Bill Neal's come right across to Souness. Sam Allardyce, the skipper. Cook. Ray Kennedy. Douglas. Caught again. That time by Allardyce. The referee wants a word. And the chance will be there for Sunderland to make an official substitution. The man coming on is Gordon Chisholm, and the number 9 disappearing we just saw was John Cook. Here's Alan Kennedy. Douglas. Letchworth, very central header. Snow stopping the ball for Owen. He didn't take advantage of possession. Allardyce, Arnott, Brown and Cummins now well forward. Here's Brown. This is a real chance. He delayed too long. And Colin Owen did his job well then. Didn't dive in, just stayed alongside him. Kept his body between Brown and the goal. And Brown decided not to have a strike. And Cummins waiting while the referee just sorts something out on the near post. He can take now. Easy for Clements. Well, that's a nice variation. The crowd singing that you only sing when you're losing. Which is turning the popular cry upside down. Neil. Just too much pace on it for Sammy Lee. And what a good season this young lad is having. He finally got his place in the side. Scoring goals, very competitive. And he's kept wide, does a very useful job too. Brown. Free kick against Henson. Sunderland pushing the big men forward. One of them has gone anyway, Hindmarch. Here he is, number 4. Elliott who won it, Hindmarch now. Henson with a strong challenge. Lee, McDermott, Elliott. Forward for Cummins. Good stop again by Ray Clements, doing the sweeper's roll in the snow. And here's David Johnson. Lee is in the middle. Further over is Dalglish. And Johnson very, very nearly catching the goalkeeper looking for a cross, although, as you could see from that sign, he was hoping it would curl back a bit more for Lee. Owen. Chisholm, and a chance coming finally to Lee, which he takes with a really fine shot. One of 3 players then, starting with Souness, looked as though he might be in with a shooting chance. In the end, it was Samuel Lee who took his opportunity for his 6th goal of the season, which, with 81 minutes gone, makes the score of Sunderland 0, Liverpool 3. And here's Dalglish. Plenty of men forward. Here's Souness. McDermott. Oh, what a lovely touch. To Lee again. A real pile driver. Chris Turner covering the near post. What a marked contrast this Sunderland side is with the team that I saw earlier in the season. put 4 past Manchester City at Main Road. It really hasn't been their afternoon at all. Ray Kennedy moved too soon, but he might still get a chance. Here's Alan Kennedy, and that's a corner. Souness. Johnson. Appeal for handball, but it was blind to the referee. Whitworth. Alan Brown. Douglas. 4 players sprinting forward. One of them is Lee here. Johnson just inside. Oh, that's a marvellous goal by Sammy Lee. What lovely composure. No wonder Kenny Douglas goes to him smiling. Really did do so well, because Johnson had made the run inside, but Lee, turning in on the ball, took his time for the little scoop over the advancing Chris Turner. No foul has been given. It's now on a par with Sunderland's defeat at Aston Villa. Or even a win. Kennedy to Kennedy, to Kennedy. Johnson is too strong for McDermott. It's Pop Robson, who hasn't really seen too much of the ball. Arnott, Elliott. Both Arnott and Elliott have been below the sort of standards they can set. And look at that for confidence. And again he just gets a foot in, but Brown puts it into the corner. Alan Kennedy looks to the heavens as Alan Brown scores a consolation goal. And Ray Clements, irritated and left with a fairly painful elbow. It seemed that once again he managed to push the ball out of harm's way. Some extraordinary play, really, by Liverpool in the person of Alan Kennedy. So, the 5th goal of the match. Comes a statistic of no great importance, except to the goalkeeper Ray Clements, whose clean sheet has now been spoiled through no fault of his own. And here's Stan Cummins and Alan Brown together. Cummins, has he done it right this time? Yes, he has. What an extraordinary finish. Well, he's had 1 or 2 of those recently, Stan Cummins, of running in on a goalkeeper. And he played it so close to Ray Clements then, but still able to slot it home. And 2 Sunderland goals within a minute at least go some way to warming their supporters. I bet their manager Bob Paisley will be rather cross about those 2 City goals given away. Free kick has been given. The challenge by Sammy Lee. Cummins. And here is Elliott. And that's a good save from Ray Clements. Hit it well, and Clements well across his goal. Here's Alan Kennedy. And a surprising end, but one which the Sunderland supporters deserved for their considerable support to their team, who were on the wrong end of things for all but the closing stages. 4 goals, in fact, at the end in the space of 7 minutes. 2 of them to Sammy Lee, and then Brown and Cummins getting some consolation for a Sunderland team who, truth be told, were well beat by the champions. The goals in the first half coming from Johnson and McDermott for Liverpool.
And as a result of that win, Liverpool move up to 2nd place in the First Division, 2 points behind Aston Villa, who were held to a 1-1 draw at home by Arsenal. Ipswich didn't play, and their postponed match against Middlesbrough means they now have 3 games in hand, which, if won, would put them 3 points clear of Villa. Now today's transfer news. The proposed move of Steve Daly from Manchester City to Chelsea is off. The 2 clubs had agreed a fee of around £300,000, but Chelsea were then unable to meet the financial terms of the player, who cost City £1.4 million from Wolves 14 months ago. Thankfully, those terms have been kept private and confidential, unlike the case of Terry Yorath, who must be embarrassed by Leeds' surprise decision to disclose the salary and signing-on fee asked by the Spurs player. Surely that puts an end to any possibility of Yorath returning to his former club, but Cardiff City still remain interested. The big news today, though, is that Malcolm Allison is all set to return to Crystal Palace as joint team manager and consultant to Ernie Whalley. Allison, who was sacked by Manchester City on October the 9th, watched City's 3-2 victory at Palace yesterday, and his presence immediately aroused speculation that he might be going back to the club he left in May 1976. Well, I can now reveal that speculation has become fact. Palace chairman Raymond Bloy told me after a board meeting this morning, "We have invited Malcolm Allison to meet us tomorrow, which he will do. We feel that Ernie Whalley needs the help of someone with experience at the top level. Ernie knows what is going on and will be happy to work alongside Malcolm. We have a great loyalty to Ernie Whalley, and there's a job for him at Selhurst Park for the rest of his life if he so wishes." Well, while Malcolm Allison was at Selhurst Park yesterday, he showed he'd lost none of his outspoken manner by being heavily critical of John Bond, his successor at Manchester City, claiming that Bond had inherited good players and had never built a good team himself. John Bond's reaction today: "Malcolm's achieved so much in the game as a coach, it's sad that he should make comments like that."
Thank you, Bob. Well, now for that brief look at the game between 2 of the favourites for promotion from Division 2, Notts County and Chelsea. And despite the freeze, the pitch took a stud, which no doubt pleased both teams, bearing in mind what was at stake. We joined the match in the first half, Notts County in the striped shirts playing from right to left. Your commentator is Desmond Lynham.
Kelly's header, and a chance to get the cross in. Comes away for Lee. Only Walker up for Chelsea at the moment, and that ball trying to find him. Cut out by O'Brien. Foul there on O'Brien. So a free kick to Notts County. The first of the match. That's Christie's header. Hooks. Oh, and a chance was on there, and nearly went in again. Well, first of all, McCulloch threw himself at that one and missed it completely. And then in came, I think it was Kelly, and the ball ran away well. So a little bit of a let-off there for Chelsea. And Notts County go forward again. That was Masson's cross. Here's Chivers for Chelsea. Droy's long ball. And Walker gets it, and here's a clear chance. And it hits the bar. Well, no doubt at all, the County defence were slow there to cover, and the shot hit the bar. Well, that attempt by Clive Walker was the nearest either side came to scoring in the first half. Let's pick it up again in the second half. This is O'Brien. Now Richards. Chelsea defence coming out quickly, set for Locke, who could only give away a corner. Droy covering Kilcline, his opposite number. Oh, the goalkeeper lost it, and it's there. Oh, it's a free kick. Rofe who takes it. Now Masson. Here he is again. There's Bumstead for Chelsea, finding Walker. He's running Richards. Lee's joining in. Walker will try it from there, and Kilcline managed to knock that one away for a corner. Lee gets the header in, and Droy, and it's there. No. Well, we've had a similar incident at either end. 52nd minute, Droy put the ball in the back of the net, but again, the referee right on the spot. So substitute coming on. McCulloch's the man coming off. Rashid Harkoop, who I would think will take over directly from McCulloch and play up front. It's not quite what Hunt meant. Set up Driver, but he's recovered. And that's a good ball from Masson to Harkoop. Can he get on the end of it? He has. Super goal. He's only been on the pitch about a minute and a half, and Jimmy Cyril, the Notts County manager, is up and dancing with delight. Well, that all started when Hunt lost the ball, then recovered the situation, set up Masson, a fine pass from him, and Harkoop's finishing was exemplary. Notts County 1, Chelsea 0. This is Walker now for Chelsea. Driver. Good ball from him and Rofe. Oh, Dick Kilcline fell there. Eventually, Tristan Benjamin back to the goalkeeper. That's Christie's ball for O'Brien. Now Bumstead for Chelsea and Rhodes-Brown. Did well to hang on to that, trying to set up Driver on this side. Won't reach him, reaches Christie instead. And that ball delivered just a little bit quick to him from Benjamin, which meant he had to go backwards. Here's Rhodes-Brown. That's for Chivers going forward. Driver. Will take on Benjamin. Good skill from him. And the cross, the header in, it's there. Well, celebrations going on there. Really good, skillful play from Driver. Beat the fullback, all ends up. And it's Bumstead who's receiving the congratulations of his teammates. So 1-1, and Chelsea pulled it out of the fire.
Well, that draw was one of 7 from the 10 second division matches played yesterday, and all 3 leaders were among them. But Sheffield Wednesday, Swansea and Blackburn closed the gap on the 3 top clubs by winning at home. And as in the second division, there are numerous first division clubs with eyes on that title, and certainly a place in Europe. Among them, Tottenham and West Bromwich Albion. Both clubs in good form at the moment, and they met at White Hart Lane yesterday to provide a further clue to the ultimate puzzle. Your commentator, John Motson.
Spurs have averaged crowds of 34,000 this season, the 3rd best figure in the country, but no longer are ticket holders able to sit in the famous 74-year-old West Stand, which is about to be demolished and which cannot be used today for safety reasons. Work behind the stand and underneath has already started on a near £4 million new development, which will incorporate 72 luxury boxes in a new stand which will have some 7,000 seats. The Tottenham team is unchanged, but 19-year-old Gary Brooke makes his first appearance as substitute. He's an attacking player discovered locally, and he's just returned from a loan spell in Sweden. There are 2 defensive problems for West Brom. Their regular left-backs, Statham, Pendry and Cowdrill are all injured, so John Truitt wears number 3, while at number 6, Martin Bennett comes in for the suspended Alistair Robertson. one man is allowed in that stand today. Peter Shreves, the first-team coach, because he has that telephone communication to the manager, Keith Birkinshaw, down on the bench. Dennis Hedges from Oxford is the referee this afternoon. This Albion side in green and yellow stripes are on an unbeaten run of 10 matches in League and League Cup. Here's Remy Moses. Now Brendan Batson. Alistair Brown. Regis in there, so was Lacey. Brian Robson. Regis. Shot by Robson. And the two goalkeepers today have got special reason to remember this fixture. Barry Daines made his Spurs debut against West Brom here in 1971. And at the other end, the Albion goalkeeper Tony Godden made his debut here against Spurs 3 years ago. Robson staying very close to Ardiles. That could be an interesting little battle in the middle of the field today. An England international against one from Argentina. That was Perryman, though, to Hoddle. Robson rapidly establishing himself in the England side. Perryman, there they are together again, the two number 7s. That was Bennett, Houghton, Ricky Villiers. Finding Perryman. Ardiles. Oh, nicely. Ardiles having a long look at what happened to the shot, but what about the piece of skill which preceded it? He just nicked the ball through the legs of Brian Robson and made room for himself to fire that one over the bar. Two players moving well to the right of Emilio, one of them being Don McAllister here. 3 in the centre for Spurs. Here's Ardiles. Glenn Hoddle in a great position. His shot was saved by Tony Godden. Instantly struck by Hoddle, who'd taken up a superb position to receive the cross from Ardiles, and Godden going to his left to make a sharp save. Archibald. Robson straight to Ardiles, and John Wilde covering. Robson. Truick. That's a good ball. Gary Owen and Brown in the centre unmarked. Here's Brown. Daines saved the first one, and Brown followed in. Well, what a simple goal in Albion's first attack, virtually. Gary Owen got away on the left. He crossed. Alistair Brown's first effort driven against Barry Daines, and he followed it in to score. Well, that's taken the wind out of Tottenham's sails for the moment. After they'd started very promisingly, Spurs, their defence is caught in all sorts of inquests going on there, you can see, because that was slack defensive play by Spurs, as I'm sure they will admit afterwards. "15 minutes gone, and a foul there by Lacey, spotted by the referee. Brown is coming in again on this. That was Miller's header. Well, Tottenham's marking certainly leaving a lot to be desired when that goal was scored. Brown. Barnes. Robson tucking it in nicely for Gary Owen. Peter Barnes wanting it played wide again. And Lacey with the header out. Hoddle with time to clear. Oh, what a good ball it was, and lovely chest control by Crooks for Archibald now. Players coming up to the right, and also one on the left, and a foul by Brendan Batson. Ardile's shot, parried by Godden, his second save, this time going the other way to his right. Ardiles has scored on each of the last 2 Saturdays, and he might have made it a hat-trick there, of a sort. It's nicely done between Peter Barnes and Brian Robson, and Alistair Brown in space again. He's got Regis on this side. Barnes is also well forward. Still Brown, pulling it back for Cyril Regis to shoot. Offside against Peter Barnes, wouldn't have counted. Barry Daines wasn't to know that. As Regis shot, Daines went to his right to make a save, but look where Peter Barnes was, in an offside position, and the linesman's flag was up. Keith Birkinshaw, the Spurs manager, was saying to Jimmy Hill in this morning's Football Focus that Spurs must learn to defend better, and he won't be pleased by the way the first goal was scored by Albion today. Second from the right as we look on the bench, Keith Birkinshaw. Crooks. And in the back of Crooks, John Weil conceding the free kick. Ardiles plays it for Chris Houghton to shoot. And save number 3 from Tony Godden. Just put his 2 fists there and the ball did the rest. McAllister. What a good stop by Tony Godden. Villiers. Hoddle. McAllister's in there again. Good header out by Bennett this time. Villiers. And Albion here have suddenly got a man over. This could be very dangerous for Spurs. And Brown is through the middle again, onside. And in the centre, he's got Owen and Barnes waiting as the goalkeeper tries to get back. And Truitt comes forward for Albion as well. And Daines finally makes a save, having regained his ground. Alistair Brown was clean through, but when he went round Barry Daines, he went too wide. And Spurs survived. Robson. Batson again. 5 Albion players forward in the attack. They do get forward quickly. There goes Brown again. And that's going to go wide. And Alistair Brown, Robson put the ball through, but Alistair Brown must be wondering quite where his hat-trick has gone to. He got the first goal, but he could so easily have had 2 more. Cold afternoon for watching football. There's Perryman. Oh, Tottenham not helping themselves at the moment. Here's Weil. Barnes. Owen. These 2 played together at Manchester City and they got a good understanding. Barnes cross in for Brown at the near post. Lacey stretching. Oh, Regis here. And now it's Batson. Hits the post. Robson's coming in. It's 2-0. Brian Robson has scored. Well, what a good move by Albion. Let's say that first off. Owen and Barnes combining beautifully. The ball played by Barnes into the centre, running on from Regis to Batson. The shot beating the goalkeeper and hitting the post. And Brian Robson, at the moment he can do nothing wrong, it seems, makes it 2-0 to the visitors. I should imagine Ron Atkinson with his hand to his mouth there. The Albion manager must be very contented as we come up towards half-time. Mick Brown, his assistant, to the right as we look. Robson. That's Brown with Miller in attendance. He's beaten them both. Regis, oh, Barnes! Well, John McAllister let the ball go, and Peter Barnes came in and made it 3-0. Set up by Alistair Brown on this side of the field, beating 2 players. Nice dummy by Regis in the penalty area. McAllister could have cleared the ball, I would have thought, but he let it run, and coming in behind him, Peter Barnes, to make it 3-0 to West Brom. McAllister reflecting on the sort of nightmare moment that can happen to any defender when you're not sure who's behind you. first half for Tottenham, who started off all right, but the story of the half really was that Tony Godden in the Albion goal made 3 extremely good saves, and then at the other end his own team used the space that Tottenham generously allowed them to score 3 times themselves. Well, that's the east stand at White Hart Lane, which is considerably newer than the one which is being demolished. This one was built in the 1930s, and that little crow's nest at the top you might be wondering about, that used to be the old press box years ago. It's now occupied by season ticket holders. I should imagine there were some harsh words said in the porter cabin, which is being used as the Tottenham dressing room at half-time. The old dressing room's being demolished along with the old stand. Spurs finding themselves 3 down at home. And the crowd towards the end of the first half beginning to get on the backs of the Spurs players, who badly need some encouragement now. On by Cyril Regis to Rooney Moses. Again, Brown in space. In the centre, Regis being joined by Owen, and a corner off Houghton. John Weil flick, Regis, well saved by Barry Daines. That looked like number 4. Regis had time to get power into that shot, which he did, but Daines, falling in front of him, made the block. Oh, and he's there again, is Regis, this time stopped by the jump of Don McAllister. Well, I suppose one has to count that shot from Regis and 2 other misses by Alistair Brown and say that, in all fairness, Albion could have had 6. Here's Adiles. That's a fine ball for Don McAllister, and headed out by John Weil. Some imagination at last brought into the Tottenham play by the Argentine. McAllister hits the bar. Maybe a touch from Godden. Certainly McAllister the unlucky player. Came in and won the ball in the air. Godden was up. The ball coming back off the crossbar. And a substitution about to be made by Tottenham. And we're going to get our first look in league football at little Gary Brook. And he's going to come on for Ardiles, who appeared to be struggling from a knock quite early in the game. Perryman. Hoddle again, that's a better one. Perryman. Here's Hoddle once more. And Godden, who distinguished himself early in the match, enjoyed making that save. Hit by Hoddle at a height the sort of goalkeeper would appreciate, and Godden able to turn it aside. In goes Lacey, Crooks at the far post, Lacey! And it's finally gone in from John Lacey via Tony Godden. Lacey got the first touch, Crooks drove it back across, Lacey hit it, crossbar goalkeeper in the net. And if Lacey claims that, as I'm sure he will, it's his first league goal for Tottenham Hotspur. He'd only scored previously in the League Cup, but Godden inadvertently may have got the last touch. Anyway, Spurs are back in business to an extent. But here comes Robson against Lacey. And we'll see now just how much a little bit of confidence can mean. Here's Villiers for Spurs, here's Brook. Crooks waiting for a chance, so is Archibald here, so is Steve Perryman. And Steve Perryman, a great chaser of lost causes, puts Tottenham back to 3-2 with his first goal of the season. Gary Brook had a hand in it early on, which will be important to him The ball played through and then across, and Perryman finishing well to make the score 3-2. With just 3 minutes to go. Well, there'll be a few nails being bitten down on the bench at the moment. Hoddle. Well, they've got one more chance, perhaps. Referee well into stoppage time. Crooks trying to turn. Free kick on the edge of the area. That's Hoddle. Deflection off the wall, corner. He's blown. It's all over. And so Spurs lose their unbeaten home record to an Albion side who did the damage in the first half. They took a 3-goal lead and Spurs got 2 of them back, but it wasn't enough. And so Ron Atkinson and Keith Birkinshaw walk off with differing emotions, I'm sure, as their 2 teams prepare now for the League Cup quarter-finals next week, on the back of a final score here of Spurs 2, Albion 3.
Well, I found that a most enjoyable match and a credit to both teams. I was particularly interested in the performance of Brian Robson, bearing in mind his sound but unspectacular displays for England in the past. And it's too easy to say we haven't sufficient international players of class, and it's not really true when you assess the performance of Brian Robson and others at club level. They don't lack the ability, they lack the confidence and maturity to produce it for England in strange surroundings and among largely unfamiliar faces. Now, Brian last played for England in a defensive role, and he quickly used his undoubted tackling ability in a manner of what we once used to call a wing half to let Osvaldo Ardiaz know that he intended to take over the midfield zone. Certainly, no one can accuse him of lacking guts or resolution, but it was his confidence to demand the ball from his friends and then loose a penetrating, adventurous pass that distinguished the club performance from the international one. And this personal camera emphasises the vision and striking skill of Robson. And as we repeat that from the wider view, we see that he's found the gap between the white-shirted Spurs defenders and also found the perfect pace to link with Brendan Batson's powerful right-wing run. The fact that the move finally came to nothing doesn't detract from the architectural expertise. A further fine example of Brian's extreme, instant and subtle passing capacity so nearly led to a goal from Regis. As Moses feeds him, the look before you play is obvious, and the first-time pass steered off the outside of the left foot floats up alongside the willing run of Ali Brown. That is sheer perfection in passing. And the final cross looked perfect, but somehow Regis, with the help of perhaps a nudge or two there, was it, that was unable to force the ball home. And it's no use blaming any England team manager if in the limited time available in mid-season, the mix of players left after injury isn't able to muster the confidence and understanding to produce this level of teamwork. The passing telepathy between Robson and Brown grows out of time spent together. Ali Brown's nimble turns, a Regis dummy, McAllister's indecision all helped Barnes to round it off. But I came away with the impression that Brian Robson has it all, except the total confidence in the international arena. Well, we've just seen the match-winning goal for West Bromwich Albion, but not, I think you'll agree, a contender for the Goal of the Month competition. But the following 8 goals are in what proved rather a fruitful month. First, goal A, scored by Dennis Tuart for Manchester City against Notts County.
And here's Tuart. Still Tuart! Yes! And that is the first hat-trick of his second spell at Main Road.
And Latchford goes down this time after a challenge from Miller. What a tremendous effort! Oh, McMahon! McMahon has scored a brilliant goal!
And Moss coming in as well. Oh, what a delightful goal! What a delightful goal! And here's White. And that's the third.
counter now for Albion. And continues the run. Onside and a chance. Couldn't quite get his left foot on it there. But now here's Barnes. 1-0.
On by Mariner, and Davray puts it away cleanly. Good play by Johnson, and by Ray Kennedy. McDermott's made the run forward of Dalglish. This is a lovely move, and it gets the proper finish from Terry McDermott. Dalglish, 4 players sprinting forward. One of them is Lee here. Johnson just inside. Oh, that's a marvellous goal by Sammy Lee.
Well, here's a check on those goals. Goal A, Dennis Tuart. Goal B, Steve McMahon. Goal C, David Moss. Goal D, Steve White. Goal E, Peter Barnes. Goal F, Mitch Davray. Goal G, Terry McDermott. Goal H, Sammy Lee. And you send your entry on postcards only, please, with your name and address on the left-hand side and your selections in 1, 2, 3 order on the right-hand side. And you address the postcard to Goal of the Month, BBC Television, London, W12 8QT. That's Goal of the Month, BBC Television, London, W12 8QT. Well, that's it for today, except to reflect that cold weather doesn't appear to affect the goal per match ratio. Just to note that last season, the average goals scored per league match in West Germany was 3.34. In Spain, it was 2.52. In England, it was 2.51. And in Italy was 1.88. Well, yesterday, in the English League, the figure was 3.25. And on Match of the Day, 4.25. Let's rejoice in that. Good evening.
So is Archibald here, so is Steve Perryman.
Here's Stan Cummins and Alan Brown together. Cummins, has he done it right this time? Yes, he has.
And that's a good ball from Masson to Harku. Can he get on the end of it? He has.
McDermott's made the run forward of Dalglish. This is a lovely move, and it gets the proper finish. 4 players sprinting forward. One of them is Lee here. Johnson just inside. Oh, that's a marvellous goal by Sammy Lee.